Hey, welcome to the Shooting Star bonus lesson video, everybody, for Friday, April 17th. And these lessons I'm going to try to make for you every Friday, and we'll have lessons on guitar, piano, bass guitar, and songwriting. And I'm going to start with guitar, so if you're doing one of the other lessons, go to about the 10-minute mark for piano, about the 20-minute mark for bass guitar, and about the 30-minute mark for songwriting. And for those of you doing drum set, I'm going to try to put a little something at the end of this video, which would be at the 40-minute mark, that would have to deal with how to play drum set in your house without a drum set, if that makes sense to you. All right, so starting with guitar. The guitar lesson today is going to be on bar chords. And bar chords are chords where you are pushing down more than one string with one finger. And there are two different kinds of bar chords. There are small bar chords and there are full bar chords. I'm going to start with a very common small bar chord that we see a lot, and then I'm going to show you the equivalent of that as a full bar chord. And that particular chord is an F chord. F chords are pretty common on the guitar, so it's a great bar chord to start with. I'm going to start with the small bar version of it. And what you're going to do is you're going to take your first finger and you're going to press down your first and second string at the same time with that first finger. Now, in order to do that, you can't bend that first knuckle like you normally do to come straight down, because your finger is probably not wide enough unless you have very wide fingertips. Okay, some people do. So you have to kind of move that knuckle a little bit, not at a 90-degree angle anymore. You have to kind of extend it a little bit more so you get some more area in your fingertip to press down two strings at once. Now, that's going to seem a little weird, but it's probably very doable. And what I would do is, before you do the whole chord, just come down here and strum the bottom two strings. And make sure they're both sounding really good before we start adding the two other fingers to this F chord, okay? All right, so we have that. So then what I would do then is just kind of rest your first finger for now. I mean, you could just kind of hover or just kind of touch those strings, but don't work really hard to press down. Take your second finger and press down the third string, second fret. And then take your third finger and press down the fourth string, third fret, okay? So you have these two fingers right here. And then try to add that first finger back on to those first and second strings, okay? If that's too hard, pick it back up again. Get these other two fingers where they should be. Press down nice and good. And then try to add it again, okay? And then strum those bottom four strings, just the bottom four. Should have a nice sounding F chord like that. Okay? That's called a small bar F chord. Now, let me teach you the full bar F chord. The full bar is where you're going to take that same first finger, and instead of pressing down just two strings, you're going to press down all six of your strings. In order to do that, you need to keep that first finger nice and straight. Don't bend the knuckles like you usually do when you press down strings. Keep it nice and straight. And you want to extend it across that first fret where you can apply pressure on all six strings. Now, you're going to be really used to pressing down with your fingertip, because we do that all the time in life. We use our fingertips to press down on things a lot and to grip things. What's going to be the hard part is pressing down with the other part of your finger. So like mainly between the first knuckle and the second knuckle is going to be the hardest part, I think, to press down those strings. So you really got to think about applying pressure all the way across your finger. Another thing you can think about a little bit too is in the back of your guitar, your thumb should also press down pretty hard in the back. I like to say, if you can hold your guitar with just your first finger and thumb, that gives you an idea of how hard you have to press down if you're just taking the whole weight of your guitar and holding it with just your first finger and thumb. So that gives you an idea of how hard, okay? And then, yeah, so then what you want to do is come down here and again, play each string one at a time. And usually the sixth string is going to come out pretty good because that's where your fingertip is. Fifth string will probably be all right too. It's when you get to that fourth string where problems start arising. And you're going to probably get more of that kind of sound, okay? And that just means that this area right up here between your first and second knuckle, that's got to press down more. It's got to have a little bit more torque to it, okay? It's going to take a while to get those bar chords down. I like to say spend some time really working on it, But then when you're actually trying a song with those chords, don't keep going back and making sure that every string is sounding right before you keep going. You're going to get really frustrated. So yeah, spend some time trying to get the proper technique, but then go ahead and play some songs and see how it goes. And I think doing both of those things, a combination of those things, actually really working on the technique, making yourself getting every string to sound good, but then actually practicing some songs and not worrying too much about how it sounds. The combination of those two things, you're going to get better over the series of many days. All right? Okay. The other cool thing about bar chords, both small and full bar chords, is they're what we call movable chords. All right? So, oh, I didn't show you the whole F bar chord yet. My bad. Okay. So you got the first finger extended across. Now we have to add 3 fingers to that. Okay. Second finger is going to go on your 3rd string, 2nd fret. Third finger on your 5th string, 3rd fret. And pinky on your 4th string, 3rd fret. And another thing, I should have said this too before I got into this, just lift that bar finger up and just work on getting these 3 fingers down again. So 3rd string, 2nd fret, 5th string, 3rd fret, 4th string, 3rd fret. And then go ahead and try to lay down that bar chord. Okay? All right, and that's your full bar F. Okay. All right, cool. All right, so now getting back to what I was going to say before I forgot, I didn't show you what an F chord was. These are called movable chords, all right? And what that means is that I can take this entire chord, whether it's full bar or small bar, and move it all up 1 fret. So the bar finger goes up to 2nd fret. My other 3 fingers go up to 3rd fret and 4th fret. And I may strum it again. And now I have what's called an F sharp chord. Okay? If you're familiar with the chromatic scale, what's happening is I'm moving up the chromatic scale. Then let's move up another fret. So now I'm on what we call bar 3. I'm barring the 3rd fret. I strum again. And again, if you know your chromatic scale, I'm now on a G chord. Okay? You're like, wait a minute, I know another fingering for a G chord. You sure do. And if you listen carefully, it's the same sounding chord. A little bit different voicing, but same chord. Okay? So the benefits of learning bar chords is that you can learn all of your major chords by just learning one shape, by learning that shape we just learned, and just then knowing which fret you have to be on to produce each chord. Okay, so we just talked about it. If you're barring 1st fret and you play that finger in that shape, it's an F. If you move it up 2 frets, it's now G. And if you know your chromatic scale, you can be like, oh, I bet then if I move up to 5th fret, I bet that's A, and you'd be right. And if I moved it up 2 more frets to 7th fret, that would be B. And up to 8th fret, that'd be C. Okay? I'm implying that you know a little bit about chromatic scales in your theory by going that fast through that discussion, but hopefully that can make some sense too. Okay? Small bar chords work the same way. Okay? Your small bar F again. If I move that up 1 fret, I'm on F sharp. Move it up again, G. And the reason that works is because every string I'm pressing down are the ones being strummed. I should put that the other way around. Every strummed string is being pressed down so I can move it. That does not work on open chords. So like your regular G chord, if I move that all up a fret, that doesn't work because there's open strings in there that they're not moving up when you move those fingers up. Okay. The last thing I'm going to say about this for today is that if you look at that fingering you did for the full bar F, and we released that 1st bar finger and slid this down a fret, that's an E chord. Okay? So we have another name for these movable chords, and actually more specific name. They're called movable E chords, or movable 6-string chords, because we're moving and playing all 6 strings. Okay? So we call those E shapes. So your E shape, you can figure out all 12 of your major chords. And I'll tell you this too, it's not just major, it's minor too. So if you did an E minor chord, move that up to 3rd fret and then barred 1, there's your F minor. So there's your introduction to bar chords, guitar players.
Hi everybody, welcome to our first distance learning piano bonus lesson. For those of you who have joined us before, I'm going to be doing some review here today, and that will also be helpful for those of you who haven't done a piano bonus lesson before, because we'll be starting right at the beginning. And I also want to point out to you that I'm not going to be teaching you how to read notation or read melodies during these lessons for the most part. We're going to be learning how to play chords, which means 2 or more notes at the same time. And these would be more common of how you'd play piano if you were playing in a jazz band or a pop or rock band or country band or hip hop group of some sort. So that's the skills we're going to be learning here. Now to start with, we need to learn what the letter names of all the notes are. So we're going to learn the white keys today. And we're going to start by finding the note that's called C. And if you notice, the black keys are in groups of 3 and then 2 and then 3 and then 2. Find a group of 2 and then go to the white key that's to the left of the first black key on the left. And that note right there is called C. And then we just go up in alphabetical order. D, E, F, G. When you get to G, it starts over at A, B, and then we're back to C again. And if you did it right, you'll notice that, yeah, you're to the left of the group of 2 black keys, okay? So the first thing I want to do is just see if you can get the right note when I say the letter name, and I'll do it with you too. So play a C, play a D, back to C, E, D, C, F, C, F, G, E, C, D, G, A, B, A, B, C. Cool. I would suggest if that was a little tricky for you, go back and try that again and see if you can get those notes a little bit faster, okay? All right, cool. So the next thing I'm going to teach you is how to form a chord out of these notes, okay? And a chord, again, is 2 or more notes played at the same time. We are going to really focus on what we call 3-note chords or triads, okay? 3 notes in a chord. And for the most part, these chords are going to have a pattern to them. It's going to be every other key. And to start with, we're only going to use the white keys. So let's go back and find our C again. Again, any C you want. And we're going to turn this C into what we call a C chord or a C major chord. And the way we do that is you play the C, skip the next white key, the D, play the E, skip the next white key, and then play a G. And I'm not going to worry about what fingerings you're using right now. I just want you to get the right notes. So C, E, G. You have just played what's called a C major chord. Very common chord on the piano, okay? So for the rest of this lesson, when I refer to playing chords, I will try to say C chord. If I just want you to play a note, I'll just say C. I probably won't say the word note. So again, just to review that, play a C. Play a C chord. Okay, so there's the difference between those two. Okay, cool. So you've learned a C chord. Now we're going to learn a D chord. And what we're going to do is go up and start on D now. Remember, D is 1 note higher than C. Skip a note, play F, skip a note, play A. And you play them all together, and that is a D chord. Okay, now let's go up to E, skip a note, G, skip a note, B. Play them together, E chord. Go up another note, F, skip a note, A, skip a note, C. That's an F chord. Okay, hopefully so far so good for everybody. Okay, go up another note. G, skip a note, B, skip a note, D, G chord. Go up another note. Now we're on A. Skip, C, skip, E. There's an A chord. Go up another one. Now we're on B. Skip a note, D, skip a note, F. That's a B chord. Go up another one. Oh, we just got back to C, which means when we skip a note and skip a note, we're back where we started, C major chord. But we're just up an octave from where we started. Those are the same chords. This is just a lower C chord than that one. This one's a higher one than the first one. Okay? And we could continue going up. There's D chord again, E chord again, and we could go down the other way too. B chord, A chord, G chord. So you can play these chords in multiple places on your piano or your keyboard. Okay, so much like excuse me, much like we did with the notes, let's see how we do with chords. So everybody play your C chord. And I'm just going to say more chords and see how quickly you can get there. D chord, so go up one. E chord, up one. D chord, go back down. C chord, go back down. Okay, skip back up to an E chord. So find that E, every other key. Now go up one to your F chord. Go up one to your G chord. Go back down to F. Back up to G. Skip down to E chord. Back up to F. All the way back down to C. And then all the way up to G. Up one to A. Back down one to G. Back up one to A. Back up one to B. And then up one to C. Cool. I'm going to end with this. There's a very common chord progression where you use the C, F, and G chord. And I want to teach that to you to finish with today. So go back to your C chord. Now go up to your F chords. You're going to go up 3 with each finger. Now go up 1 to G. And then go back down to C. Let's try that one more time. C. Up to F. Up to G. Back down to C. Very cool. So there you go. Very common chord progression, C, F, G, C. Feel free to play around with these chords and see if you can get better with them. And we'll come back next week and we'll take the next step in your learning.
All right, bass players, your turn for your bonus lesson this week. Today, I thought I would teach you one of my favorite songs, and a song that a lot of people know, called Don't Stop Believin' by the band Journey. I'm going to turn my amp on here real quick. Many of you are probably familiar with the song Don't Stop Believin'. If you're not, you might want to just stop this video real quick and go take a listen to it on YouTube. A very famous song from the 1980s. Okay, so I'm going to not only teach you how to play it, but also the note names, and I'll take you through where each note is very slowly. And the other thing I want to say too is that I'm not going to go through actually reading the notes on the staff today. I might try to do that a little bit in the future. It's a little bit extra work on my behalf to get that done. And I'm still trying to get into a routine here of bonus lessons and distance learning. So give me a little grace on that, but we'll get there. And maybe what I'll do for next week is actually get the music so that you can see what it actually looks like. It's not like a ton more work. I just haven't prepared enough to do that for today. But the main thing is I'm going to teach you how to play it today, so that's cool. All right, so sorry, my head's kind of cut off here. I want you to be able to see the bass. But let me get some volume here real quick. Okay. So we're going to start. This song is in the key of E, and our first note's going to be an E. So I'm going to play my fourth string. Remember, we number the strings from the bottom up. The bottom string, the thinnest one, is first, and then second, third, and then fourth. Okay. So I'm going to play my fourth string up here, and I'm going to play it open. I should also just make sure if I'm pretty much in tune here. I'm pretty close. Okay. So I'm going to do open. I'm going to let that ring for 3.5 counts. 1, 2, 3. Well, it's 2.5 counts. Sorry. 1, 2, 3. And then I'm going to go to my second fret and play that fourth string again. And then I'm going to go to my fourth fret and play it again. And then I'm going to go up to my third string and play second fret. And each of those last 3 notes I did are going to be like eighth notes. So they're going to go pretty quick. So I'm going to go open, 2, 4, 2. And that last 2 is on the next string down. One more time. Oh, I didn't do that very well. I'm going to do it again. You got to keep in mind, I'm not a bass player, people, but I love trying. Okay, now that's your first 4 notes. The next 3 notes, we're going to go up to 4th fret on your same string that you were just on, 3rd string. And then we're going to go up to 6th fret and back to 4th fret. Okay. So we just, at the beginning again, we were open, 2, 4, 2. And then we're going to slide that first finger up to 4th fret. I didn't really talk about what fingerings I'm using, but I'm using my first finger. At the beginning, I'm going first finger, third finger, first finger. Slide it up, and now I'm on first finger, third finger, first finger. Okay, hopefully that makes sense. All right, so that's the next spot, 4, 6, 4. Okay, then I'm going to slide up again and go 6, 7, open, all on that third string. 6, 7, open. Okay, so let's go back to the beginning. So open, 2, 4, 2 on third string. Slide up, 4, 6, 4. Slide up, 6, 7, open. And then there are 2 more notes on the first half of this riff, and it's back to 6, 7. Okay, so 6, 7. So back to the beginning. Open, 2, 4, 2. Slide up, 4, 6, 4. Slide up, 6, 7, open. 6, 7. Cool, awesome. Now, the second half of the riff starts the same way. We're going to go back to open, 2, 4, 2. But then right here, we're going to go 4, 6, and instead of going back to 4 on third string, we're going to go to 4 on fourth string. So 4, 6, 4 on fourth string. Let's go back to the beginning of the second half of the riff. So open, 2, 4, 2, slide up, 4, 6, 4 on fourth string. And then the next part stays on fourth string. 4, 4, 4, 5. And then you have to go back up to the 6, 7 that you finished the first half of the riff in on third string. So again, we're on fourth string and it goes 4, 4, 5, slide up, 6, 7, and that's the second half of the riff. Let's review the second half of the riff. So back to open fourth string, open, 2, 4, 2, up, 4, 6, fourth string 4, 4, 4, 5, and slide up to 6, 7. Okay, here's the whole thing from the beginning. So fourth string, open, 2, 4, 2 on third string, slide up, 4, 6, 4, slide up, 6, 7, open, 6, 7, second half, open, 2, 4, 2, 4, 6, 4 on fourth string, 4, 4, 5, 6, 7, and that's the whole riff. Let's talk about note names, okay? And you'll get more chances to practice as we're doing note names too. So we're going to keep playing it, but I'm going to talk note names instead of fret numbers this time. So this low string right here that we start on is a low E. That should be the first note you memorize on the bass, low E. And the next three notes are going to be F sharp, G sharp, B. So E, F sharp, G sharp, B. We'll do that again. E, F sharp, G sharp, B. And when we move up to the next set of notes, it's C sharp, D sharp, C sharp. Lots of sharps. Sharps, by the way, are those hashtag looking symbols. Okay? So C sharp, D sharp, C sharp, and then D sharp, E, and you're like, wait, didn't we have an E down low? Yeah, this is the high E. And then when we go to open, that's an A. So D sharp, E, A, and then D sharp, E. So here's the first half of the riff again. E, F sharp, G sharp, B, C sharp, D sharp, C sharp, D sharp, E, A, D sharp, E. And then here's the second half of the riff. E, F sharp, G sharp, B, C sharp, D sharp. Oh, here's where we go to fourth fret on your fourth string. That's a G sharp, remember from the beginning? And then G sharp, A. And you might be going, wait a minute, isn't A open on your third string? Yeah. It's the same note. You can play A two different ways. So you, in theory, you could just go to open if you wanted to there, and that would be fine. And then you end the riff with D sharp, E up high. Okay. So one more time. Here's the whole thing. E, F sharp, G sharp, B, C sharp, D sharp, C sharp, D sharp, E, A, D sharp, E, back to the beginning, E, F sharp, G sharp, B, C sharp, D sharp, G sharp, G sharp, G sharp, A, D sharp, E. Now sometimes people ask, well, why do you have to know all the letter names? Isn't it just know the frets, right? And the strings? Yeah, but you know what? It's like trying to go to another country where they don't speak languages that you know and thinking, oh, I just have to know how to point at things and get by. Yeah, you can get by, but you're not going to fully understand everything without knowing those letter names. It's kind of the way we communicate. If I said to you, hey, play a B right there, and you're like, can you tell me the string and the fret? I don't know what a B is. Then that's frustrating for me and for a lot of people. So it's good to know your note names and your letter names. It also really helps if you really want to understand music and get into the theory behind music and writing music and just all that stuff. And learning music in general, you can learn music a lot faster and understand it faster if you know your letter names. So don't diss the letter names. Yeah, it's great if you can play these riffs, but start learning the letter names too. All right, that's the end of our bass lesson today. Welcome to the songwriting bonus lesson part of our Shooting Star video today. I'm going to talk a little bit today on chords when you write songs. And during these songwriting bonus lessons, I'm going to take a bunch of different angles at how we kind of go about writing music. And there's so many different ways to do it. And there is no one right way. Even people who write music for a living will go about it in different methods and fashions sometimes. So I think that's really important to know. One assumption I'm going to make right now is that for this particular lesson, I won't always do this for the songwriting lessons, is that you understand how to play chords on a chord instrument. Right now I'm holding a guitar, but that could also be ukulele, it could be piano, and that you just understand some basic chord knowledge. If you don't, this might be a little bit of a confusing video for you. But a lot of times when I am wanting to write a song, I'm hearing a melody in my head, or I'm hearing some kind of music in my head. I might have some lyrics already in place, I might not. It doesn't really matter. And we'll talk about lyrics another time. We're not going to really get into lyrics today. But one way that I have found that can be kind of successful is find three chords, or two or four, but probably not more than four, that you can put into a pattern called a chord progression. And that becomes like the intro and the first verse of your song, whether we're talking pop, country, hip hop, rock. It really doesn't matter because all those styles of music use chord progressions. But so, for example, I'm going to take two, well, let's do three. Let's do three. I'm going to take three really common chords in popular music. I'm going to start with a G. And if you play guitar, you're probably familiar with the G chord, or ukulele. You're probably familiar with that. Even piano, if you have chord knowledge, you probably know how to play a G chord. Next chord I'm going to take is a C chord. Again, another really common chord on all these chord instruments. And the next one I'm going to take is E minor. By the way, if you're playing piano, G is GBD. These are going to be all white key chords. C is CEG. And E minor is EGB. And sorry, I don't have a ukulele sitting here right now, but next, one of these videos I'm going to take out a ukulele. But anyway, yeah, so those are the three chords I'm going to go with. And I'm just going to come up with a kind of a chord progression off the top of my head. I'm going to come up with kind of a basic strumming pattern. And sometimes this process means I'm just kind of just messing around on the guitar or whatever instrument until I come up with something I like. So right now I'm going G, C, E minor, C. And I'm just repeating those three chords in that pattern. You notice I'm doing C twice. G, C, E minor, C. Okay? And that actually sounds pretty cool. That's actually a fairly common chord progression. And I could create a melody and some lyrics that go over the top of that. And I might do that. That might be the way my song starts. Like I said, I'm trying to come up with kind of like an intro and a verse. So like the beginning of my song, the intro. And you might do that again, maybe just once, but we'll do it twice. And then here's maybe where the words come in. Sitting at home, watching the day go by, wishing I could leave my home, way too high. Stuck here all day, wanna get out, 'cause it's you, baby, that I think about. Please don't judge the lyrics. I know sometimes students tell me all the time, they're like, I don't want to show you the lyrics I wrote. They're so personal. You'll judge me. And I'm like, no, I won't. I mean, that's how we get better at it. We got to show people. We got to be open to feedback. And then whenever I do it, I'm like, oh, please don't judge me. So I totally understand how you feel, people who want to write lyrics. So when I do things, they're usually kind of corny and off the top of my head. That was just off the top of my head. So, but whatever, that's cool. I think that's cool. When sometimes people are like, you did that off the top of your head. That's so amazing. And I'm like, it wasn't amazing, but thank you. I think sometimes we just need to start messing around like that, and every now and then you'll sing something where, and you'll be like, oh, that was actually quite good. Okay, anyway, I said I wasn't going to talk about lyrics, but uh, the lyrics and the music go hand in hand a lot of times, and so I had to give you an idea of how that works. So I just did that G, C, E minor, C pattern 6 times. I did it twice for the intro, and then 4 times when they actually sing lyrics. Okay. So then we get to the chorus, the main part of the song, right? And you're like, well, the chorus usually has something different. Not always. Sometimes the chorus stays exactly the same. There are some songs like this. We've the song "Life Changes," for example. I don't know if you know the song "Life Changes." Great country song. Has the same 4 chord progression the entire song. It never changes the whole song. So anyway, um, so what we're going to do though, a lot of times the chorus will change, but we don't have to use different chords. All we have to do is change the order. Okay? So we were going G, C, E minor, C. So here's what I'm going to do on the chorus. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do I'm doing E minor for a measure, C for a measure, G for 2 measures. Same 3 chords, but instead of going G, C, E minor, C, I'm going E minor, C, G, G. Got it? Okay. So that's all it takes. That's all you really need to do. Okay. And I also kind of played a little bit louder, gave it a little more emphasis because now this is going to be the main part of our song. So we can be like, sunrise in the east, sunset in the west. You are always the best. Moon rises up in the evening sky. Looking at the stars, I wonder why. You are the best. Again, don't judge the lyrics too much. Just off the top of my head. But yeah, so you can basically just change those chords around and there's your chorus. Now, for those of you who aren't very familiar with forms of songs, what happens after that usually is you do another verse. So I would go back to the G, C, E minor, C, change the words around a little bit. And then after that, go back to the chorus and do the exact same thing I just did, music and lyrics, the exact same thing. Okay. And then some songs, that's it. That's all they do. Okay. A lot of songs will then have a third part called a bridge, where they might repeat another section of the same chord progression, or they might change up the chord progression a little bit and do something completely different. So maybe on my bridge, I go to a D chord. Ooh, D, F sharp, A, piano players. So C, back to D, back to C, and then the chorus again. Sunrise in the east, sunrise in the west. You are the best. And then you do the chorus maybe 2 times, and then that's the end of the song. Very common chord progression. Intro, verse, chorus, bridge, chorus a couple times, end of song. All right. So there you go. I hope that helped a little bit. I'll do another one next week. Maybe we'll focus on lyrics, songwriters. Well, that was the first of our Friday bonus lesson, Shooting Star videos. Thank you for joining us. I'm going to try to do one of these every Friday. For those of you who tuned in for drum set and I told you to go to the end, I have put a link to a great YouTube site that you can visit, and they talk about what it takes to become a great musical drummer and also some great ideas for trying to play at home and they make some assumptions that you have a foot pedal and a snare drum pad. And some of you may have that at home. Some of you may have one or the other. But get even more creative. Come up with some crazy idea for what you could use as a pedal to hit against like the bottom of a couch or something like he does in the video, and then come up with something you can play. If you don't have drumsticks, come up with some ideas of what you could use for sticks. But you can get creative, and I'll continue to try to look for fun videos like that to help you as a drummer. So, all right, have a great weekend, everyone. Thanks for watching.